Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful spring morning and I'm outside on my deck, and today's video is going to be about foam rolling. Going to give you a little demonstration of how to foam roll and talk about the benefits of foam rolling and why it is important to do it. I'm going to start with a little quick overview about foam rollers. I have 4 foam rollers here with me, varying in density or intensity. The one that I'm sitting on is a white one, and it's generally your softest foam roller. The softer the roller is, the less intense the myofascial release will be on your body, the less uncomfortable it may be. So for beginners or for elderly, if you're going to start with a foam rolling practice, you might want to start with the softest one possible. If you're deconditioned or have never had any sort of deep tissue type massage, start with the white one. Generally, there are different levels. There are different companies that make them. This is a blue foam roller. It's a medium density. A little bit harder, and then usually the most toughest and the firmest and hardest rollers are black. They also make some extreme ones. This is called a rumble roller. It's a little shorter and it's got knobs on it, and it can be very uncomfortable. So those are your 4 different kinds of foam rollers. I just came back from a run this morning, and I like to foam roll a little bit before and a little bit after exercise to wake up your muscles at the beginning, and then to help to do a little bit of passive stimulation post-workout to help with a cool down, and depending upon the intensity of your exercise, to help flush out some toxins from your muscular system. So I'm going to start with the feet and work our way up, or the calves and work our way up, and I'm going to demonstrate this first roll by sitting on the floor, resting your legs on the foam roller. You want to get your lower calves close to your ankles, maybe about 3 to 6 inches up from the back of your shoe, and rest both legs on your foam roller, and just start with a very basic rocking back and forth, just kind of shifting side to side, an internal and external rotation simultaneously with both legs. Okay? And I like to do that first just to get going. Then I'll move up the legs to about mid-calf and continue doing the same thing, hitting a different portion of your calf muscles. That rocking back and forth is very basic, very simple, okay? You're not lifting your hips off the ground like this, you're just sitting and going back and forth. After doing that, I return back down to the lower portion of the calves, and I go into an ankle circle rotation. I try to do about 10 ankle circles, and I'm just, for brevity, I'm going to only do the demonstration here, so I'm not going to do 10, and then I'll go back and go in an opposite direction and do ankle circles that way. Next I go with a point and pull, alternating feet. So I'm hitting rotational motion, and then I'm hitting front to back motion or walking motion, kind of point and pull, and getting good stimulation on both. Then I'll move back up the calf again to the midsection of the calf and repeat, okay? In addition to what you're getting out of the pressure on your leg, you're also getting muscle engagement and muscle stimulation. So circles and then point and pulls, okay? Those are your introductory ones. If you wanted to isolate one leg versus the other, a good way to do that would be to cross one leg onto the other. So you're going to take, say, your left lower leg and rest it across your right lower leg. Your right lower leg is on the foam roller, and then you can do those same motions that we did earlier, the circles both directions, point and pull, okay, and we can go side to side, back and forth. The up down motion, up and down the calf, is a little more challenging because you need the ability to lift your hips off the ground, and it's just more challenging for most people. So if you're young and strong and fit and you want to do it that way, I don't object to it, but it's not necessary. There are other ways of doing it. If you can't do this seated because of a flexibility issue in your hamstrings, you could go ahead and lie down and do it from a lying down position. Same motions, back and forth, circles, point and pull. So that's the lower legs, the back of the legs, the calves. If you have the ability, we're going to go into and get the front of your legs or the side of your legs, sort of the shins. This is a little bit tougher for people with lower leg issues and knee problems, but doing this will help to improve knee function, lower leg function, and most likely will help to limit knee pain or reduce some of the knee tightness that you have. So you can get up onto your hands and knees on your roller and get your shins on it and just roll forwards and backwards a little bit, okay? I'm going to turn sideways and have a better view of this. And so hands are on the ground. You're going from just below the knee down to mid shin and back. Okay, this might be uncomfortable. Start with the white foam roller and then work your way to more challenging. Okay, we can go side to side, back and forth, shifting our weight from one to the other. Okay, so we've got the back of the lower leg and the front of the lower leg, and we're going to hit the side of the lower leg. So we'll go back into this position and we'll lean off to the side a little bit and we'll roll that outside back and forth of the leg. Resting the other leg across the top to give it a little bit more pressure downward, which will increase some of the tension on the leg. On that side, peroneus muscles, the side of the lower leg, we can go back to your circles and your point and pulls while leaning on that outside of the leg. Hit different spots from the ankle anywhere along the lower leg up to the knee. The next thing I'm going to do is show you some thigh or quad foam rolling, and you will get down into a kind of a prone position where you're lying face down. I'm going to once again turn sideways so you'll have a better view of what I'm doing. You can see, so I'm laying face down and I'm resting mid-thigh on the foam roller, and I'm going to hold a position and see how that feels. Get a sense of comfort or discomfort there and see what you're sensing. Find a spot that you feel is a little bit sensitive. So I'm right about mid-thigh. I'm going to lower it down to a little bit closer to the knee, or I can move it up a little bit closer to the hips and feel those pressures. I'm going to rock my hips back and forth. I'm going to find a spot on one leg that's more sensitive than the other. When I find that, I'm going to give a little bit of rolling front to back. So I'm rolling my left quad up near the hips. And then I'm going to lean off to the right and do my right. I like to go short, just for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, up and down. After I do that, I move the roller down a little bit and get a spot lower and work on that. Rolling front to back and then side to side. if I'm looking to do it a little more advanced, okay, or a little more isolative, I can move your roller to one side and get one leg at a time on the roller. The best way to do that is to have one leg off the roller and have one leg on the roller. And the same principles we use as if we had both legs. We move up and down, we find a spot, get about 10 reps, up and down, we rock side to side. We can hold positions and just let the pressure stimulate your tissue there. This is kind of like a self-massage. So we've done front of the legs, the quad areas, and the lower legs. Generally speaking, it's not necessary to foam roll the belly of the hamstrings. You don't have very much sort of bony pressure on the surface there, so you won't get as good benefit there. But what's a good spot to do is to get your hamstring attachments, which are right up at the kind of your sit bones at the base of your butt, down where your thigh meets into that. So for that, I just go ahead and sit on the roller, and I just kind of rock side to side, grab onto it, and just lean side to side. This is probably not uncomfortable, feels good. It's just a little stimulation for the attachment site to the hamstring up at the ischial tuberosity, or the back of the pelvis. Right from there, we can go into more of a glute rolling, and with that, I'm going to lean off to one side so that I'm isolating one part of my gluteus maximus, or my butt muscles. There's a lot of muscles in there that are rotators, and they can often be quite tight and quite sensitive to some pressure. So they are a great muscle to stimulate in this manner to help loosen up your hips and your leg to hip joint, which is vital to proper function for getting out of chairs, for walking, for running, and for all sorts of activities that we do, squatting, climbing stairs, etc. So I'm going to lean to one side, okay, and I'm going to rock or roll forwards and backwards. Okay, I'm going to get a little closer to the camera, you'll see better. And then I'll turn around so you can get a good sense of that. But I'm leaning one glute on the roller. I have light weight on this hand, which is on the floor, and I'm rolling up towards the lower back and then down towards the back of the thighs. There's your, say, up-down motion, and then we have our side-to-side motion. We want to get a little deeper into that rolling. We can cross our leg, the side that we're leaning on, and continue with those same rocking side to side or forward to backwards. I'm going to turn around and demonstrate that also for you. So crossing that leg, rolling up and down, and side to side. You're getting the leg that's crossed on the other leg, you're getting that glute, and then we can switch, lean off to the other side. So right now in the video, I am rolling my left glute with my left ankle on my right thigh. It's a beautiful breezy morning here in early April on my deck in Potomac, Maryland. And there we go. So, just a quick recap: lower legs, back of the legs, side of the legs, front of the legs. Thighs, front of the thighs, sides of the thighs, upper hamstrings at the glutes, and then the glutes. Another area that's super important to foam roll is your shoulder blades and your thoracic spine. best way to do this, I'm going to turn sideways. I'll give you two views, but I'm going to give you a side view, is to lean back and rest your mid-back on the foam roller. Support your head with your hands. If you have any shoulder problems, you want to be careful with how much pressure you put on here. I'm keeping my hips and butt on the ground to start, just to get a little bit of soft pressure on my upper back between my shoulder blades. If this feels okay and your neck feels okay and your arms are okay, it's okay to lift your hips off the ground a little bit. You want to keep your abs engaged when you're doing this, just to protect your lower back. So you want to maintain some core stability and move up and down, okay? Also, similar to the lower body, we move side to side. So we've got our side to side movement, we've got our front to back movement, and we can also get some lateral flexion in both directions. I'm going to turn towards the camera so you can get a view of that in that direction also. So once again, on the foam roller, I'm going to roll mid-back towards the cervical spine or neck and feel the pressure between the shoulder blades. Begin to go rolling side to side, okay? And we can do a little bit of a lateral flexion or bending side to side, okay? So we've got our left to right, up and down, and side to side. If you want to isolate one side or the other, you can lean on one side a little more than the other, okay? So there's really no cut and dry rule to what you can't do. You want to be in a position that doesn't bother any of your joints. Pressure in the area where you are making contact with the roller is okay. Sometimes there will be some discomfort while doing this. That's not a bad thing, okay? It shouldn't be excruciating. If it is, you want to move off that excruciating spot and work up and down near that area, but don't go over and cause yourself to be in agony. When you finish with your foam rolling, you should feel looser, more mobile, more flexible, and overall better. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. If you liked our video, please subscribe to our Forever Fit YouTube site. And once again, thank you for watching.